All right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and today I'm absolutely thrilled to be interviewing a dear friend of mine, Daphne McDonagh. And Daphne, you are just a gift to people because, I mean, gosh, there's so many angles, but you are a gatherer of people. You are a healer for people, animals, spaces. I'd imagine energy grids, all of it. And you are a survivor. You have survived an immense journey through a very traumatic accident, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you just keep giving. You keep thriving. You keep choosing to be your best, follow your flow, and do your thing. So I'm very honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming or for joining me. And yeah, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm honored. First of all, I want to ask, are we split screen yet?
We are split screen. We are good to go.
Excellent.
Yes, we are split screen.
Thank you. I'm actually the one that's honored that you asked me to be here to share what I do, to share just with everybody, because that's what I live by. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Absolutely. So, Daphne, let's talk a little bit about your healing abilities, because I would love to highlight this for people because you have this really amazing ability to, like you've said before, be a conduit for healing. So you help it to happen. And I have to say that I have heard of your abilities to facilitate from other people. Lots of people talk very, very highly of Daphne, whether you're treating animals or people. But you have also helped me several times. So not just a one-time anomaly, we could say, but you have helped me several times in which I have needed to break a fever. And I had tried all the different things. I had tried the Advil, the Tylenol, the cool bath, cool cloth, all these things, and it wouldn't break. And then I reached out to you, and you automatically were like, what can I do for you? And you knew exactly what to do, turned on the crystals, did this and this and this. And literally within half an hour, I think almost every time it was half an hour, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I feel it lifting, and it shifted. And it shifted. And it was amazing. And the thing is it wasn't just one time. It was well, every time since that I've had a fever or had an issue, as soon as you do the crystals and you set them up and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in a sec, how you do it, it worked. And I want to add to that. Now, Daphne can meet with people in person, right? But every time that you've done this for me, it's always been distance healing, right? Because you're in Alberta and I'm in BC, and it's been distance healing. So that just is powerful to the ability for energy to move beyond space and time. So can you explain a little bit about how you work with the crystals? And we'll talk about your why in a little bit. But first of all, how is it that you do it?
How is that? Okay, well, first of all, I have figured out how to use different modalities and different things to help people, be it in person or distantly, from trial and error on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the best way to explain that.
Right.
Would you like me to talk about the different tools that I have? Would you like me
Let's do that.
like
Talk about so you really got into crystal and laser therapy to help you heal from your injury,
yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it worked so amazingly for you. And actually, let's talk about the magnet story first, how you kind of fell upon it. So talk about the magnets.
Okay, well, I don't know if any of you guys remember from the dollar store, there used to be those really big magnets. They were called torpedoes. You throw them up in the air and they bang together. They're really, really, really annoying.
Right.
They used to get them at the dollar store. They're really, really, really annoying. I put them in my pockets, one on each side, and I felt better. And then I did a little bit of research and I found out that magnets balance polarities of the body. So they stimulate the underactive organs and they sedate the overactive ones, bringing everything into balance. And like I've said before, anybody that knows me knows that I'm not just a halfway sort of girl. I'm like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. So then I found the Healing with Crystals Therapy Diploma, and I opened up the can of worms of crystals and crystal therapy and healing. And it was just synchronistically, I love how life presents things.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that life presents us with things when we're ready and when we ask for it.
Yeah.
I had a magical. I had a beautiful friend give me magnet earrings that he found in Phoenix because he said they'd balance my brain, and I felt like $1,000,000 when I wore them. So I had to have more.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Michael's. I forgot some stuff to make earrings, and then I had 40 pair of earrings and with different crystals and magnets. And God bless my husband's soul. He's like, maybe you should show those to your friends because maybe they'd like them. And I thought, okay, so I did, and they love them. And then they all went, oh, you should make bracelets and necklaces to go along with these earrings. And that's basically how that started.
Which, as
But
a sidebar, just real quick, is what you also offer is you make jewelry and you offer specific jewelry for people.
yeah,
You offer,
animals.
yeah, right, and animals. You offer a generic, but also you can make jewelry specific to people based on the healing properties of the stones and crystals.
Yeah,
As an example of what you're wearing, your necklace is one of them, and your bracelet. And so you you also make those as something people can take with them in addition to the crystal therapy. So just a little sidebar.
correct. Correct. Little sidebar there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then I, randomly come in contact with a lady who had this amazing laser that has light, and then I, connected with a guy that has the sacred geometry tools. I mean, I know I'm giving a lot of information here, but it's just synchronistic. I just want to make the point of how synchronistically life presented itself and things presented themselves to me when I was ready to
Mm-hmm.
use these things for myself. And now that I've used all these things for myself, I learned that I can use this and the sacred geometry tools and the crystals to help both animals and people distantly.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I found that out was because it actually was really random. A friend of mine had a friend in Europe that had a dog that had back surgery, and the dog wasn't walking. So they asked me if what I did could maybe help the dog. And I thought, well, let's give it a go because I don't know. And I did. And a week later, the dog was running around like a puppy again.
Amazing.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
And
something to be said.
you have a list of clients kind of all over the world too. Like you're currently, I think you were saying before, working with somebody in Ontario,
Yeah, right
right?
now.
And you also have some horses on your roster, along with people too, though, right? So I mean, you've helped people with cancer, you've helped people with PTSD, with physical injuries, illnesses, and then also spiritual and energetic disharmonies as well, right? So it really, the thing is with your healing, with the crystal and laser therapy, it is unlimited, right? It's very
I
unlimited.
like to say infinite. I like
Infinite.
to say infinite.
Beautiful. I like that. So again, describe a little bit of the tools. So show us kind of what some of the tools are and what they do.
Okay, well, okay, so this is the triple pyramid, and it clears the body, the mind, and the spirit, the body, the mind, and the soul. As you can see, it's a triple pyramid, and it's got a sun ring in the middle of it.
Mhm.
Um, Anybody that's a real energetic force, Ginette, you might even be able to feel the magical energy that's coming from this right now.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sent from me to you. It's pretty cool.
Sure. And you said that the metal is dipped in, or
It,
the
the,
beam, the
the
bars are dipped in several metals as well, right?
Yeah, it's dipped in 9 different metals, and the top one's gold. Now, I use this for a lot of things, and so the gold's kind of wearing off the top, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it sweeps through your energetic and etheric field to detach any hooks, cords, or energies that don't need to be there.
Beautiful.
So when I'm treating a person in person, I sweep that through their energy. But when I'm working on somebody distantly, I'll show you what else I got going on here. So then I've got the laser, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then I've got the clear quartz, because the clear quartz is a master healer of all healers, and
Mhm.
the smoky quartz, which helps to get rid of any negative energies.
Beautiful.
But then I also have the neutralization ring. And then I put the picture of whoever I'm helping under all of this. And I put the laser, like the crystals here, and the laser, this laser here, if you'd like me to talk about the different sort of forms
Yeah,
of laser. This
absolutely.
one's the violet, which works on the deeper emotional and aoric field. Um, I've all So if people are dealing with emotional stuff like PTSD, that's the one I would use.
Hmm.
This one is the infrared probe, and the infrared does bones, teeth, tendons, muscles, cartilage, and joints. So my dad, who's actually dealing with shingles right now, I've been distantly treating him with this too, and it's helping him feel better.
Beautiful. Amazing.
So, but yes, this laser has red, infrared, and violet light in it at all times. So I'll just share this. Tell me if that's too much.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Just that's red, infrared, and violet light all scalar woven together.
Okay.
So it's not going to hurt anybody's eyes if they look at this. It's okay. It's all safe because there is different types of lasers that do different types of things, and some of them you can't look at. These
Right.
ones you can, and it's totally okay.
And so the laser, what's the benefit of the laser?
Pardon me?
What's the benefit of the laser?
The laser provides photons to the cells of the body. So in basic English, what the laser does is it provides light to the cells of your body so they can heal and regenerate.
Right.
So going back to you, with your fever, I used a frequency called pleo. And what the pleo frequency does is it breaks down the cells to their proper hexagonal form. It detoxifies and it puts all the cells back into their proper hexagonal formation.
Right. Okay. So they're not, yeah.
So if somebody's got a cut, I mean, my husband at one point, he injured his finger really bad. So I used the pleo frequency on his,
Hmm.
and his fingers healed, and you would never know that it was there.
Amazing. Amazing. And you know, there's so much out there now talking about light therapy and light energy and all this kind of stuff. And even from a spiritual standpoint, light is the essence of our souls and our soul self. It is of light. So, I mean, think about that. Like, it's just powerful when we use light energy and the different frequencies and wavelengths of that light, how it can really affect our whole self. So the aura, the spiritual self, all the way down to the dense human form self, right? Like it's just, it's an amazing healing modality. And so, um, yeah, so I think it's amazing. And the thing is, the thing that I like even more is that you came across this and you became a big believer in this because it worked for you to heal from your injury, which, and we'll talk about that very, very soon. I love how many people that are very proficient in their skill, whatever their skill is, or their gift, or the modality, whatever words you want to use, but for the thing that they offer humanity for the betterment of it, to help others heal, usually comes from a deep journey of struggle, a deep journey of having to find something. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like Joe Dispenza, for example, he found his understanding of thought through having to heal himself, right? You found crystal and laser therapy from having to heal yourself. Like, that's why it's tried, tested, and true, and you can believe it 100%, right? On a tangible form, on a very human
Yeah.
3D form. Now, let's talk about your story, your why, right? Why it started, your 15-year-old experience with a massive closed head injury from a car accident.
Yes. Well, I mean, when I was 15, I was very active. I was very active. I played Alberta volleyball. I played high school volleyball. I rode my horse every day, twice a day, because I used to compete in rodeos. Um, and my mother and I were involved in a near fatal car accident. The ambulance attendants called me in that I was going to be DOA, and I got to the hospital and they wanted to harvest my organs.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, my dad said no. Thank God. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
But luckily, my dad said no, and they hooked me up to full life support for 2 weeks. Um,
But
Actually, one thing I never did tell you before.
why did your dad say no though? I love this part. What did your dad tell them?
Well, they told my dad that there was no brain activity, that I was brain dead, and he said, "Well, shit, she was brain dead before the car accident. She'll be fine."
Right. I love that. That's
Which,
hilarious.
coming from my father, that's just humor is the way we deal with things. So,
But he was that
but
one who intervened. He's the guy
right,
that intervened to allow you to give you time to choose.
right, and so when actually I didn't tell you this before, but when they took the respirator out, I collapsed a lung, and they got that back and going. And I was still in my coma. And then when they unplugged me from the full life support, they didn't expect me to live.
Mhm.
and they felt that I was going to be in a coma for the rest of my life. Actually, I need to tell you this too, because when I was in my coma, my mom would ask me to lift my finger to show them that there was brain activity, and I would.
Oh, no
And
way.
then, so after I lived, when they unplugged me from the full life support, sorry, I just have to think back, right?
Mhm.
They unplugged me from the full life support. Um, I was in my coma still, and the doctor said, well, she's never going to come out of her coma. Well,
Mhm.
4 days later, my grandmother came from Lloydminster, and she came into the room. She's like, okay, Daphne, it's time for you to open your eyes. It's time for you to come out of your coma. Daphne, open your eyes. And I did.
Wow, hey?
Nobody asked me to open my eyes. But
Right.
when mom asked me to lift my finger, I did.
Did.
And then when my grandma asked me to open my eyes, I did.
Yep.
I mean,
Amazing.
from a physical
Yeah.
standpoint, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they know what I was doing on the other side,
Right.
We can talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, I mean, I was on full life support for 14 days, in a coma for 18 days. I was in the hospital for a total of 8 months. I had to learn how to walk, talk, feed myself, dress myself, everything again
Mhm.
from a physical standpoint.
Right. What a
And that
challenge.
was very hard for a 15-year-old active teenage cool girl to
Mhm.
go from being an athlete to not being able to take care of myself. It was really
And
hard.
and then that was followed
But
by 20 years of pain, right?
yeah,
20 years of pain in which you had to try and find all different ways to try and mend, heal, deal with that pain.
yeah.
And then a lot of the change, like the actual release from it, would you say came from crystal healing and laser and
Well,
magnets?
that's what started it. I mean, acupuncture is amazing. I mean, for me, acupuncture, chiropractic, massage therapy, there's so many different modalities out there that are so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's basically, I guess, I mean, that's why I love sharing my amazing circle of people,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many amazing things that do so many amazing things for so many different people, that
Right.
not everything works the same for some person. I mean,
Exactly.
in talking to you about DNA and epigenetics, and different things work for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything works the same, but what I do works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will share it with anybody who wants to give it a go,
Yeah.
because I know how much it helped me.
Well,
And
I know
that's
how much
why,
it helped me. So it's great.
right?
It's really great. Yeah. So
So,
let's
yeah.
talk about so that was your physical experience, right? So what were you doing on the other side? Because you were in a coma for 18 days, right? 18 days. And then you decided to
And
come back.
well, and this is where I want to say thank you to you, because of what you do.
I
And
agree.
you helped me remember that while I was in my coma, I was actually on the other side, and I was being bathed. Okay, so close your eyes for a second. I'm going to paint you a picture just so you can feel this, because it feels so amazing. Take a deep breath in. See a picture of one of those big clawfoot old bathtubs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was in that bathtub, and I was being bathed by the rainbow colors of the Ascendant Masters. And there's this beautiful rose smelling, like roses, and there's like this music that's just, I mean, you can feel it in your soul. And like I said, I was blessed to be bathed in the rainbow colors from the Ascendant Masters to, I guess, for lack of better words, impregnate my DNA with information so that I could come back here and I could share that with people to help shift the planet, to help lift the vibration of the planet so that we can come together.
Right.
And that's kind of what I do, is I kind of bring people together.
You do, and like for some people that find talking about ascended masters and things like that to be very woo or sci-fi, like that's the truth of what happened there. And the truth of how that plays out in this human form on this 3D planet is that you gather people, is that you help others through crystal therapy and healing modalities that work for you. That's what you're doing. And the thing is as they were bathing you in that light, you were basically letting go of many limiters that could
Yeah.
come limit you in your willingness to simply facilitate. So, and that's one of your greatest gifts, honestly, Daphne, is you don't get in the way. You don't get in the way of what you offer, and you don't get in the way of the energies by, you know, confusing them, wondering what it's doing. You simply believe in it and you just do. And so, I mean, I think that's really massive. And it does also speak to, like we've said, your ability to gather. Because not only do you offer these different things, but you gather people to share in what they offer to create this big conglomerate of wellness, light, and healing. And an example of that is the Healing Circle page that you created on Facebook with Kelsey and Denise. And like you guys created this beautiful platform for healing, and you have over 1,000 people on it. And you just started that after coronavirus started, right? Like, and it's just a place for people to share what they offer, to share compassion and support and all this kind of stuff. Like, and you just invite a bazillion people, and you happen to meet a bazillion people all the time. Like, you're just a gatherer. You really are a gatherer. It's quite amazing. So, like, you are
Thank you.
very much living your truth and purpose.
It's taken me a long time to get here. It really has. But I mean, after living in pain for so long and then finding something that works for me, and again, thank you to you for letting me know that I need to get this down on paper somewhere.
Right?
um,
Because you currently,
about how I got to where I am. You know, it's been a long journey, but I am grateful for life, period.
absolutely.
And like I said before, you know, when people ask me how I am, I say I am blessed, I'm grateful, and I'm open to the many wonderful opportunities that the universe presents me with. And I like to use I'm magical too, because that confuses people, but you
And
know.
that's actually how you respond to text. Like, and I have to point out that that is not a canned answer. Like, that's truly how you respond to texts. It's hilarious. It's not, I mean, in a good way, but it's just, that's where you are all the time. And I think that's so great. And, in connection to this, so you did mention that you were getting it down on paper. So she is currently writing a book on her story, but Daphne already is a printed, published author already in a book. And do you want to tell us about that book?
Well, it's called the Sacred Hearts Rising Anthology. It's actually in chapters now. I'm in book 1 and book 2. It's funny because of what I do, because I communicate with animals. I was referred to the publisher to before I knew she was a publisher. I was referred to a lady to work on her horse because her horse needed some help. So I helped her horse, and then we went our separate ways. And then I was at the market, and somebody said, "There's this lady looking for people to share their stories. You should go talk to her." I poked my head around the corner, and it was this lady that I knew. And so I was like, "Oh, psh." She really had to twist my rubber arm to get me to share my first story, because in book 1, because I didn't feel that it was anything worth sharing.
Mhm.
I mean, I was gonna say shit happens, but it was not a fun experience. I mean, I'm gonna look you in the eye when I say this, but I would not wish what I went through on anybody. But I am grateful for the experience because it has made me the person I am today.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Right. And so you have those two books already under your belt, and you're currently writing another one, right? And again, in this gathering aspect, you are also involved in this amazing summit being planned in Edmonton in March 2021 called Women in Bloom Summit, which is a
yeah.
big gathering of women sharing their stories, their why, what got them to where they are. And you are speaking at this summit, right? Which is exciting. And I have to thank you as well because you got me in on that summit too. So I'll be speaking as well, which I'm pretty stoked about. And but this is the thing is you are doing your thing. You are just gathering and connecting, and the rate at which you're connecting people is unparalleled. Actually, the rate at which you are like moving on your
Actually,
like a super high trajectory, and you've got like rockets behind you. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So,
well, I just, like I said, it's taken me a long time to get to where I am, and I realize now that when I focus on that which I want in my world versus that which I don't want, how much more fun my life is.
mhm. Yeah.
I am grateful. to be here. I I I feel blessed to have a house. I feel grateful to have food in my fridge. I'm over the moon that I drive a beautiful red Jeep. How
Mhm.
lucky am I? Thank you, universe, for providing me with what I need.
Mhm.
And when I moved to that space of being grateful for what I have versus what I don't have, the
Mhm.
universe brought me more things. So I'm going to go on a tangent here for just a second.
Go for it.
But yes, what's happened with this pandemic is horrible. But let's just take a step back for a minute, and where we were at globally in the world, we were all asking for change.
We're
We all wanted something to change in the world. And then something changed.
yeah.
And we have the choice now to how we answer this.
Mhm.
Now, with my car accident, sorry, I'm just taking a tangent back for a second. I know now that my mother and I chose that accident to bring people together, because with tragedy, that brings people together. Earthquakes, people come together. Tornadoes, people come together. Pandemics, even though people are apart, countries are coming together to support one another.
Mhm.
So, what if instead of focusing on the negative and focusing on the bad of what's going on, what if we focused on the positive, focus on the helpers,
Mhm.
focus on the people that want to be there to show up and raise the vibration? We
Absolutely.
know that we can do this.
Yeah.
So why aren't we?
Right.
Wow, that was kind of big.
That was good. That was beautiful though. And like, and you're so true and you're so right because even if we think of the amount of change that's happened just in this Lionsgate portal,
Yep.
we such an influx and an increase in light and positivity, like pushing up from the surface in this Lionsgate portal, we made leaps and bounds energetically,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is phenomenal. And we just need to keep beaming that heart energy, that positive energy, that higher intentional, compassionate energy out into the world as we move through what's probably going to be quite a peak and valley crazy
Mm-hmm.
fall. But again, that's to just shift and sift out all the remaining darkness, right?
Yep.
And so, yeah, like we are in the midst of this change right now. And we
Mm-hmm.
want to change. I love that you brought that up. We did. The way the world was working before wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sustainable in many
Yep.
ways, many, many ways. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is so much about making the most of where we're going now, right? I love that.
Well, and I mean, like I was telling you before we did this, 3:33 this morning, I woke up and my hands were like vibrating.
Hmm.
I thought my hands were gonna like vibrate off my body. They were itchy. They were, I just the energy between them was like, wow, what is this? And then I laid down in meditation and I said, what is this? What's going on? Is it an allergy? Am I reacting to something? And I heard, no, no. And then I was like, it's because I'm leveling up because I'm switching to a higher vibration.
Hmm.
I've switched to a higher vibration and everybody else can too if they choose.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I don't heal people. People heal themselves.
Hmm.
I am the conduit. I'm the facilitator. I have the tools. And I joke that, yeah, you can call me a tool because I'm the tool that's going to facilitate, right? There's a beautiful lady that has MS that hadn't felt her feet in 19 years that I'm helping, that she can feel her feet. She can feel the grass between her toes again.
Amazing.
After two in-person sessions.
Amazing.
The third session she had pain in her back because pain has layers, right? And I truly believe that there's an emotional cause to every pain that we have in our world.
Hmm.
And so in talking with this person, I found out that when she was very young, they moved from someplace she knew to someplace she didn't know, and she was scared. Her
Wow.
body's been in fight or flight mode for 30 years. Well, no wonder she's got MS.
Hmm.
Because when our adrenal glands are kicked in, our sciatic tucks up underneath our butt, cutting off the circulation from the waist down. Well, no wonder.
Hmm.
So what I do is I help people to unwind from the stress and dis-ease they are facing
Amazing.
in their life so their body can be open to receiving the healing they need.
Amazing. So with all that, Daphne, people are going to want to be able to get in touch with you to figure out how you can help them. So you have a website called daphneshealinghands.com,
Yeah, yeah,
and or they can email you at daphne@daphneshealinghands.com. Uh,
yeah,
people can also find you on Facebook,
yeah.
correct? Daphne McDonagh?
Well, Daphne McDonagh, or they can find Daphne's Healing Hands. The picture is build the person that you want to be. Because, yes, I truly believe that I chose to come back here like you did to be the being that I was born to be.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Right. And I believe that everybody can be the beings that they were born to be.
100%. Totally agree. And also, if anybody wants to join into the Healing Circle page on
Yes.
Facebook as well, you do have to be admitted in, but Daphne will admit you into that. And also, um, if you do find that page, do mention that you came upon it from this podcast, either through YouTube or the podcast itself. And then Daphne will click you in right away, and you guys can be a part of this amazing community, this wonderful community of healing, of support, of compassion, of insights, of sharing of all kinds of stuff. It's just a beautiful page. So,
Well, and this page isn't about selling or marketing. This page is about, like, it's funny. Denise and I were talking about. It's kind of like a teachers convention. You know how when you go to a teachers convention, there's a big room in the middle, and all the teachers meet there, and then they break off into the different spaces to go, right? And so Facebook has so graciously created a thing called rooms. So if people want to talk specifically with other people about what they do, they can create a room on that page, and then they can have a gathering there to talk about what they do. And then if people want to purchase services from there, they can.
mm,
But what we're really trying to do is keep the main page open as possible for just people coming on. I mean, on my live that I did this morning, I asked people to put a post up about what they love most about what they do.
mhm,
Don't try and sell me anything. Just tell me what it is that you love most about what you do. Because I think there's over 60 modalities on there. Under the announcement tab, I had people click on the modalities that they like to practice.
mhm.
And there's so many that I don't even know about. But that's what's so wonderful is that we're just coming together to share.
Yeah.
And so actually I'll probably wrap it up because we don't want to keep people here too long. Is there any, but I don't know, is there anything else that I need to talk about, Ginette?
No, you covered all my things, so it's perfect. It was perfect.
Okay. Okay. So on the live, I actually, my beautiful friend Sandra Kuntz did the animal messenger cards. She painted all the pictures and channeled all the messages for them. And I shook them up to ask for what the global message was for today. You know, what we needed to know as a community. And I chuckled because this is the card that came.
The Keeper of Magic.
The
Beautiful.
Keeper of Magic. And I mean, you know, everything in my world is magical
Totally.
because it truly, truly is.
Yeah.
So I see you smiling. With your permission, may I read you what the Keeper of the Magic says?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it says, the raven is the messenger from the black void of pure creation, and raven knows that all is well, for it can create magic in any situation, as magic is its true nature. The black iridescent feathers of the raven are a reminder that we are source energy. Sorry, I just chuckled. I looked up and I seen my eye go in. It was funny. Good and bad do not exist within the void. Everything just is. And when we can live in the present moment from this place of non-judgment, then the magic is ours to own. And truly, when I started to choose to live from that space of being and
Mhm,
not doing, life got better for me.
mhm.
I'll finish reading this, then I have a funny story.
Okay.
Sorry, it just came to me. The more we focus on the mystery and magic of life, the more it shows itself and becomes our everyday reality. The raven also reminds us not to take life too seriously, as that can stop magic in its tracks. Ravens and crows are constantly around us in our physical environment, and they show us how plentiful magic is. Remember that any situation can change in a heartbeat, as you are magic, and your heart is a powerful magic wand. What you focus on is what you create.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
so with that, I mean, really, what you focus on is what you create. So what do you want to create in your world? What do you want to do to be the being that you were born to be? I had a friend of mine, a wonderful friend of mine, tell me a story years ago. And he said, what happens when you go to the park and you chase the birds around with the bread saying, here's a bread, here's a bread, here's a bread? The birds run away. But what happens when you sit on the bench and you toss out the crumbs? The birds come.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stopped chasing the birds, my world opened up.
Mm-hmm.
When I started to just be me and not worry about what everybody else thought,
Mm-hmm.
my life opened up and the universe presented opportunities to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to share my story. Women in Bloom came into my life. I didn't realize the magnitude of what that was. I was just being me and just helping out and
It's a big,
inviting people.
like, it's a big
So
deal. It's not just one little conference room. Like, it's a big deal.
it's an international women's event.
Yes.
There's going to be 4 in Canada next year, and I'm on the board.
Right? I know.
I'm the vice chair of Edmonton.
Yeah. It's amazing. Makes sense. You're doing what
So
you
I just want to reiterate to people that there's always a choice. There's always an option. There's always choices. You might not necessarily like the choices that you have, but there's always a choice.
do. Mhm.
And you can choose to stay where you are, or you can choose to make a difference. But nothing's going to change if you change nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful.
So
Well, thank you, Daphne. Like, what a way to wrap that all up, like, and bring it full circle. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for your time, for your insights and your story. Um, and yeah, I will be sure to put the links to the different things on this post. And yeah, just share it. You guys really need to see what Daphne's about. Try out her healing modalities. It really, like, this is not a sales pitch. This is just, if you want wellness in your life, it is worth it. And I know that from firsthand experience. It's just really beautiful. So thank you so much, Daphne. And hope you have an amazing day. And guys, I will be back again with another podcast pretty soon. And I wish you all a magical day.